Hello students, let's discuss regarding the next the viral disease, nothing but the dengue fever. See, what is the causative agent of the dengue fever, and which the microorganism means virus causes this dengue fever. This dengue fever is caused by, this one is caused by arbovirus, that is RNA containing virus, RNA containing virus, that is arbovirus. This arbovirus is an arthropod borne virus. This arbovirus is an arthropod borne virus which is born through arthropods. So it is called as arbovirus, which belongs to a group called as, such virus belongs to a group nothing but those groups are called as nothing but the flavivirus, flavivirus or flaviribovirus. So causative agent, so the causative agent of dengue disease or dengue fever, is nothing but the flaviribovirus. It is flaviribovirus. So this flaviribovirus is the causative agent of the dengue fever, and this is transmitted through the bite of the infected, the female mosquito, nothing but Aedes aegypti. This flaviribovirus, how it get transmitted into the human beings? That is the mode of transmission. Mode of transmission, how it get transmitted into human beings, or how this virus can enter into the human body means transmission is through the bite of infected okay, a female mosquito named as Aedes aegypti. Aedes aegypti, it is the name of the mosquito through which the dengue virus or the virus causing the dengue fever is transmitted into human beings. So through the bite of infected female Aedes aegypti, which is commonly called as tiger mosquito, because of its appearance, which is having characteristic stripes of black as well as the white stripes will be present over its body. So it is called as tiger mosquito. And so what we call here the group of the virus to which this the flaviribovirus belongs to, usually they cause yellow fever, but they are not present in India. Usually these viruses causes yellow fever, but they are not found in India. So only this yellow fever is not present in India. To the same group, this flaviribovirus belongs that causes dengue fever. Okay, and it is commonly spread through the bite of the female infected mosquito called as Aedes aegypti. What is the incubation period of this virus then? Means how much time is required for that virus to cause the symptoms of the fever or the disease once it gains entry into our body. Then the incubation period is minimum of 3 to the maximum of 8 days. This is what the incubation period of the virus, nothing but the flaviribovirus, which causes dengue fever. Then what are the types of this dengue? Is there any subtypes are present in the dengue? See, the dengue is mainly of two type. This dengue is categorized into two types. What are those two types means? In this dengue, there are two types are there. The one is a classical dengue fever. Classical dengue fever is one. The another one is hemorrhagic dengue fever. Second one is hemorrhagic dengue fever. Dengue fever. So what are the symptoms of these two type of dengue? Then what the symptoms of this dengue fever includes? The symptoms include such as the one set of abrupt high fever. Abrupt high fever. This is what the and symptom of the classic dengue fever. So along with that one, okay, a pain that will be present behind eyeball, pain behind eyeball, which worsens or increases with the movement of the eyeball, which worsens with the movement of eyeball, So we cannot be without moving the eyeballs, right? So whenever you want to see the things, okay, in and around you, so we'll move our eyeball. So that also causes pain, which causes the pain, or that pain which is present behind that eyeball increases many folds when you move the eyeball. That is also a characteristic feature of or the symptom of this dengue fever. Then, other than that one, what other symptoms are present here means nothing but here. Okay, it also causes okay, the stomach pain or severe stomach pain we can be seen. Severe stomach pain will also be present. Then the pain in okay, muscles as well as joints, the joints, and along with that one there will be a okay, the feel of nausea and vomiting, nausea as well as vomiting. So here the nausea nothing but the feel of vomiting, or before the vomiting the feeling preceded is called as nausea, that leads to the vomiting. So these are the common symptoms of what is that a classical dengue fever. Here there is no bleeding takes place, so only it is called as a classical dengue fever. If the bleeding takes place during the dengue in any parts of the body means such as the nose or the mouth or the gums, then that belongs to hemorrhagic dengue fever. So here one set of abrupt high fever will be present. The pain behind eyeball that worsen with the movement of eyeball. Then severe stomach pain will also be present. Then pain in the muscles and joints. Along with that one, the nausea and vomiting. Nausea as well as the vomiting can also be seen. Let's see some other symptoms of the classical dengue fever. So the other symptoms includes loss of the sense of the taste as well as loss of appetite. You will not feel hungry easily, and you will not feel the taste of the food. Means you will lose the sense of tasting the food as well as the loss of appetite. Along with that one, there will be appearance of rashes over the chest as well as the upper limbs. As you can see, the appearance of rashes in the measles. So the measles like rashes will be formed over the chest as well as the upper limbs. So these are the symptoms of classical dengue fever. The next one is the hemorrhagic dengue fever. So in this hemorrhagic dengue fever, as the name itself says here, that is there will be a bleed of blood takes place. So its symptoms includes, so what are the symptoms of such hemorrhagic dengue fever then? Its symptoms includes So here also there will be onset of high fever, means nothing but all symptoms of all symptoms of classical dengue, all symptoms of classical dengue except or along with except the following symptoms can also be present. Except ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, or the following symptoms can also be seen. What are those symptoms then? Following symptoms can also be seen. So what are the other symptoms which can be seen in hemorrhagic dengue fever along with all the symptoms of the classical dengue fever? Let's see that one. See, as the name itself indicates, here the bleeding takes place, so that okay, the bleeding can be seen in, so bleeding in the parts such as the nose, mouth, okay, and gums. So in nose, mouth as well as the gums, there will be the bleed of blood takes place, and the skin bruising can also be seen. Skin bruising is also a symptom of hemorrhagic dengue fever. Next is here, frequent vomiting will be present with or without blood. So and then the frequent vomiting is with or without blood. So the vomiting may be with blood or without blood, means in the whatever the food that regurgitate from the stomach during the vomiting, along with that the blood also comes out, or it may not come out. So the vomiting may be with or without blood. That is also an important symptom of hemorrhagic dengue fever. So along with that one, other symptoms includes here nothing but the rapid pulse, the rapid pulse rate. Okay. So not only this one, the other symptoms are such as, so other symptoms includes there will be a severe stomach pain that can also be seen in the hemorrhagic dengue fever. Along with that one here, the skin will be cold or clammy. So skin will be cold or clammy skin can be seen. Along with that one, there will be difficulty in breathing and the excess thirst, nothing but the mouth will be dry. So dry mouth is also an important symptom of hemorrhagic dengue fever. And lastly, restlessness, and there will be a continuous crying. So because of that the heavy fever or the high fever, as well as the bleeding and the restlessness, so the patient used to cry. So these are the symptoms of the two different type of dengue fevers, that is classical dengue fever as well as the hemorrhagic dengue fever. Then what is the treatment that involves here? So the treatment for the dengue, as in both cases what happens here, the onset of high fever or the abrupt onset of high fever is the characteristic condition here. So that here, based on or according to the doctor advice, according to the doctor's advice or prescription, okay, so one should take paracetamol tablets. One should take paracetamol tablets, okay, based on the doctor prescription. Okay, but okay, patient should avoid, but the patient should avoid taking okay, aspirin and disprin drugs. Aspirin and disprin tablets are the drugs. So if anyone is taking aspirin or the dispirin tablets for other diseases, they should be discontinued when you are going to take the paracetamol for the dengue fever. Why? Because the taking of aspirin or the dispirin, that increases the risk of bleeding during the dengue fever. Okay, if you continue the paracetamol along with the aspirin and dispirin means that increases the risk of bleeding. So only these two drugs should be avoided. So when you take the paracetamol as a treatment or in order to control the high fever in case of dengue. And if the fever persists, one can go for the sponging, and the sponging should be carried out if required. What do you mean by sponging here? Means nothing but, okay, see, a wet cloth should be taken, okay, and it should be rolled over the complete body so that it helps in minimizing the body temperature. So that process is called as sponging. A wet cloth in cold water should be applied to the body surface, so it will minimize the fever or the intensity of the fever, and that process is called as sponging. So sponging should be carried out if necessary or if the fever persists even after taking the paracetamol tablets. So the drug used for treating the dengue fever is the paracetamol, and at the time aspirin and dispirin should be avoided as it going to lead or increase the risk of the bleeding. So for such dengue patients, as they are going to suffer from the dry mouth also, so they should be given with plenty of fluids, okay, for dengue patients. So next, how we can prevent the transmission of this dengue fever? The prevention. How we can prevent the spread of the dengue? The spread of dengue, as it mainly takes place through the bite of the infected female Aedes aegypti mosquito. So can be controlled. It can be controlled by. This can be controlled by, first one, avoid the stagnation of water in open containers. So by avoiding the stagnation of the water in the open containers in and around the home, and also by the regular replacement of the water in coolers, and here the containers in which the water will be present, it may include the vessels or the tires, okay, and the other containers wherever the water is used to stagnate, and if any ditches are present in and around the home, so where the water can get stagnant, so such area or the such stagnation of water should be avoided. Then by regular replacement of the water in coolers, how it is going to prevent the spread of the dengue? So in that water also this mosquito can breed, and they can live or they can lay the eggs, and their larvae can develop and their population increases, so that the risk of the dengue increases in such areas. Why? Because larva of the dengue that can grow only in a clear water or the fresh water, so only the regular replacement of that water avoids development of such larvae of the mosquito, that is Aedes aegypti. Okay, and also other methods how we can prevent the spread of this dengue through this infected mosquito means, okay, by applying okay, mosquito repellents, by applying mosquito repellents like Odomas or any other brand. So by that also we can prevent the bite of the infected mosquito. And along with that repellents, next the use of or the what is it, sleeping in mosquito net. Nothing but here the we should sleep in a net which avoids the entry of mosquito in order to bite the human beings. So sleeping in the mosquito net by applying the mosquito repellents or by the use of the mosquito repellents and avoiding the stagnation of water in the containers and replacement of the water in coolers. By this we can avoid increase in the population or the population of the mosquito which can cause the transmission of the dengue. So by that so we can get prevented against the dengue fever. So this is regarding the dengue fever. So next we will discuss regarding another viral disease, that is nothing but chikungunya. And here see usually so when we mentioned regarding the symptoms of the dengue, okay, we didn't mention a common symptom which can be seen in the patients normally. So whenever you think of the dengue patient means the first thing comes to your mind is the decrease in platelet count. Decrease in platelet count. So that is not mentioned in the book, and so it is also one of the symptom of which one? The dengue fever. So whenever you are complaining about the dengue fever or the high fever means if it is suspected means they will go for the blood test, and in that blood test normally the blood platelet count will be very less. So that is also one of the major symptom of dengue fever. So let's discuss about another disease, chikungunya now. So what is the causative agent of the chikungunya? So the dengue is caused by the flavirovirus. Like that, what is the virus which is causing the chikungunya in the human beings? So it is caused by the virus named as chikungunya virus only. It is named as chikungunya virus, or in your SSLC textbooks it is mentioned as chickpea virus. Chikungunya virus was mentioned as chickpea virus. So how it is transmitted and where it is isolated for the first time? Okay, this virus was isolated from infected mosquito, that is infected the female Aedes aegypti mosquito and infected human individuals also. Infected human individuals. From both sources, chikungunya virus was isolated in Tanzania. Where it was isolated means in Tanzania, that is in or during 1952. So in 1952, this virus was first isolated from the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which was infected with the chikungunya virus and also infected human individuals in 1952. So here this Aedes aegypti, that is female mosquito, acts as the vector for the transmission of this virus. So here this mosquito is not a causative agent of the chikungunya, but here the causative agent is a virus called a chikungunya virus, and it is being transmitted through the bite of infected mosquito, that is Aedes aegypti, the same mosquito which acts as a vector for the dengue fever. So that acts as vector for the chikungunya also. Then this disease name is derived from the word which means, so here the disease name is derived from, this one is derived from a word which means doubled up. That means doubled up. Means here The name of the disease is chikungunya. So this name is based on the word which means doubled up. So what is the meaning of chikungunya here means double up. This is because the patients who get this disease, so they are not able to walk in a complete erect posture. Okay, so only that is called as a doubled up, as the patients cannot walk walk with normal posture, walk with normal posture, normal posture. That is because of, that is due to severe joint pain, severe joint pain. The main characteristic symptom of this chikungunya is the joint pain only, muscle as well as the joint pain. Because of that muscle and joint pain, the patient is not able to walk in a erect posture. Okay, such a posture of walking, or the walking style of such patients is called as doubled up. So based on that one, this disease is named as chikungunya. So what are the symptoms of this chikungunya? So what are the symptoms of chikungunya? So here the symptoms includes crippling joint pain, crippling joint pain. So along with that one, the pain in muscles, pain in muscles. Next, so along with the pain in muscles, so there will be, what is it, the onset of high fever. Onset of high fever can also be seen in the patients which are suffering from the chikungunya. So along with this one, conjunctivitis can also be seen. Conjunctivitis is also associated symptom of chikungunya, and even the hemorrhagic manifestations can also be seen. Hemorrhagic manifestations can also be seen. The patients who are having the chikungunya will mainly suffer from the crippling joint pain, the joint pain which radiates in the body, and the pain in the muscles. Because of that one only, they are not able to walk properly with the erect posture. Then there will be an onset of high fever in such the chikungunya patients, and they will be having a conjunctivitis also as a major symptom along with them. And in worsened cases, it can also lead to hemorrhagic manifestations, means the bleeding of the blood can also take place in such patients. So these are the symptoms of which one? Chikungunya. Is there any vaccine is available for the chikungunya or the dengue? Can it be prevented by the use of vaccines? No. Such vaccines are not available for the dengue or the chikungunya. Only prevention is the cure. Means we should avoid the contraction of the infected mosquitoes, as it is not possible to find out which mosquito is infected and which one is male or which one is female. Is it possible to find out easily which is the male mosquito, which is the female mosquito? So it is not possible, right? So we should avoid, okay, the contact with the mosquitoes. Nothing but we should not give a chance for the mosquito to bite us. So that by the use of repellents, mosquito repellents, it may be the coils, or it may be the some liquid mosquito repellents, or the use of some creams or the jellies, or by avoiding the mosquito by sleeping in the mosquito nets and avoiding the stagnation of the water. By these methods we can prevent the spread of chikungunya as well as the dengue fever, as both can be transmitted through the bite of the infected Aedes aegypti mosquito only. So here the very important thing is that one, no vaccine is available, no vaccine is available for for dengue as well as dengue and chikungunya. For chikungunya as well as the dengue, there is no vaccine available. Only prevention is the cure. So this is what regarding the chikungunya as well as dengue fever. So next we are going to discuss about the last aspects of the viral diseases, that is hepatitis and types of hepatitis infection.